The oceans are vast, mysterious places, filled with shapeless things and things that change shape. Creatures that can defy logic and gravity. Aquatic angels and creatures from hell. These are the world's weirdest water creatures. The freaks in the ocean. Our aquatic action heroes are masters of disguise, armed and dangerous, the fittest survivors, cunning code breakers, and sexual virtuosos. We start our tour of the weird with the Masters of Disguise, where every day of the year is Halloween. Some appear as other animals. Some appear as objects. Some appear not at all. Whether the goal is camouflage, confusion, or copulation, these animals have one thing in common. They are the real Transformers and put those CGI robots to shame. Australia is called the land down under. And down under Australian waters, you'll find our first weird transformer, the frogfish. Why a frogfish? There aren't any frogs in the ocean. Is this some kind of evolutionary failure? A humbug loser? They can't swim well. They lack a swim bladder. They can't move well. Fins are poor substitutes for feet. Instead of chasing prey, they have become masters of the ambush. Step 1. Conceal your position. Frogfish have evolved to mimic less dangerous, more delicious animals. Is that a sea urchin? Nope. A sponge? Mm-mm. What about that coral? It's a frogfish. And so is this, and so is this. Step 2. Lure in the unsuspecting prey. What's that little white thing floating above the frogfish's head? A guppy? A worm? Whatever it is, it looks yummy to passers-by. But in a classic case of bait and switch, it's actually just an appendage to the frogfish's dorsal fin, used to lure the curious, the hungry, and the soon-to-be dead. The frogfish keeps very still, waiting for just the right moment. The shrimp vanishes in less than 1/100th of a second. How can a fish so slow strike so fast? The answer lies in its method of attack, called gape and suck. No, we're not making this up. Its jaw first pops and drops. The gape. This creates a void of negative pressure. The water and everything near it rushes in. The suck. Let's see the instant replay. Gape, suck, and spent. But even this living tractor beam has its limits. This frogfish has no teeth. It must swallow its prey whole or not at all. One big gulp can't catch this flounder. It's able to pull itself free. The frogfish will just have to wait for its next meal. Something it's very good at. Animals can mimic not only each other, but even the ground they swim over. Like this flounder. The very word makes the fish seem helpless and confused. And that's just what they want you to think. Their thin bodies and camouflaged scales help them look like the seabed. Once within range, they strike with sudden speed. This is a shrimp, aka dinner. The flounder hides under a thin covering of sand. Only its eyes peek out. Strangely enough, when a flounder is born, its eyes are on either side of its body. As it matures, one eye migrates to the other side, giving it the characteristic flat shape that allows it to hide so well. The shrimp senses danger, but it's too late. But the flounder's hungry movements don't go undetected. This osprey senses an easy snack. The flounder attempts to disguise itself again, but the sands are too sparse and the water too shallow. The eater is eaten, and the cycle of life continues. While other, better disguised flounder live on. For some people, Bermuda is a carefree island renowned for its sun, hospitality, and snazzy short pants. For others, it's one corner of the Bermuda Triangle where big things disappear forever into the Sargasso Sea. Does this picture look innocent to you? Look harder. Lurking somewhere inside the seaweed is our next weird look-alike, if you can spot it. Need a hint? It's right here. This is the sargassum fish. This 4-inch hunter has evolved to mimic the sargassum algae that surrounds it. Its skin has the texture of seaweed. The white spots resemble tiny worms that are prey for the small fish who have no clue they're being watched, sized up, and swallowed. Look closely at the sargassum, and you can see its meal struggling inside, but only for a moment. Time now for the Grotesque Express. This is a parasitic crustacean called a tongue louse. It gradually devours its host's tongue. Then it attaches itself to the fish and becomes its new tongue. That's quite a disguise. Strangely enough, it does an okay job. So out with the old, in with the... Actually, we'll keep our old tongues if it's all the same. For centuries, humans have thought animals' barks, croaks, squeaks, and chirps were nothing more than noise. Turns out they were talking behind our backs the entire time. What they say might surprise you. Dolphins on the hunt strategize with one another. They coordinate their movements with whistles and clicks. But it's just as important what they don't say as what they do say. Like any high school, being part of the in crowd is incredibly important for dolphins. They'll synchronize their swimming with their pals to show they're on the same wavelength. They'll bully and they'll chase. When alarmed, dolphins will close ranks to show solidarity. And while some behavior may look playful, in certain contexts, it's downright rude. Head shaking, jaw snapping, and even bubble blowing are ways a dolphin shows its annoyance and anger. You won't find any snotty bottlenose dolphins up here in the Arctic, but you will find canaries. Except that at over 1,500 pounds, they're not likely to make good pets. Beluga whales are known as the canaries of the sea because they have a repertoire of high-pitched sounds they use to communicate with one another. They're very social, and frankly, once they start squealing, They just won't shut up. Babies start making noises within hours of being born. But all the whistling in the world won't do any good if the baby finds himself beached. This pod of belugas has moved into shallow waters. It's summertime in the Arctic, time to molt. The baby has become separated from its mother and stranded on the shore. He cries out for help, but the pod can do nothing. He broils under the hot sun, hoping the returning tide comes before a polar bear does. A tide surge sweeps in and sweeps him out. Lesson learned. Stay close to mom. Penguins can't afford to lose track of their child. The chick's survival depends on it. Parents will dive down almost 800 feet to find fish for their chick. Then, after a hard day at the office, they return home to their islands around the Antarctic and try to find their child. It's like a shopper wondering where they park their car. This is no trivial matter. If the parent feeds the wrong chick, theirs can starve to death. Fortunately, they have an astonishing solution. A parent can zero in on the audio frequency of its chick's chirp above the din of the thousands of equally loud parents and their chicks. And the chicks can zero in on their parents' call as well. It's like walking into a stadium full of fans all talking at the same time and being able to pick out the voice of your child or your parents. If only they had a special call for, "Excuse me, coming through." Yes, babies are a sure sign love is in the air, or more often than not, in the water. We've heard about the birds and the bees, but rarely about the coral and the cuttlefish, and with good reason. Reproduction is a strange function under the waves, and these creatures will do whatever it takes to get their chance. Fight for territory, fight for mates, change appearance, change gender, combine together or split apart, as you're about to find out. This is the 70s swinger of the sea slug world, the sea hare. Named for the rabbit ear-shaped growths on its head, these floppy rhinophore tentacles actually are the creature's nose, which it uses to find food and mates. It floats gracefully through the water on its two wing flaps, seemingly without a care. And why not? It's toxic, making it extremely unpopular with predators. It dines on algae and seaweed, available everywhere. And when it's time to mate, it calls up everyone in its little black book. Everyone. Sea hares are hermaphrodites. They contain both male and female sex organs. The first sea hare acts solely as a female and is mounted by a second sea hare, who acts as a male to the first and female to a third, and so on down the line, to the last hare, who acts only as a male. A pregnant sea hare will lay spaghetti-like strands of millions of eggs, anchored for safety to the kelp beds. Up in the Arctic, it's not the birthing that's weird, but the mating battles. Hooded seals look normal enough, swimming under ice sheets in search of food. The impatient males fight for the right to wait by the female, who become available after they wean their pups. two males size each other up, get ready to rumble, and blow a nose balloon. They get their name from this hood-like bulb on the top of their heads. They use it to demonstrate their manliness, because nothing's manlier than flailing around a hot pink balloon. There is a method to this rosy madness. The males top out at 9 feet, 900 pounds. That's a lot of weight to throw around, a lot of energy to spend. If a bigger balloon can scare off the smaller male, that's a smart strategy. But these males are evenly matched. It's on to punching, shoving, and off the ice chasing. The victor reemerges to court the soon-to-be available female. Will his big balloon impress her? Good enough. He relaxes next to Mama and Pup, the hood now back under cover, looking quite normal. Almost. Sexual competition is not always over who gets to be the father. With these flatworms, it can be over who gets to be the father and who gets to be the mother. Like the sea hare we saw earlier, flatworms have both male and female sex organs. But when it comes time to make little flatworms, they have to decide who plays which role. And that they fight over. The two flatworms rear up, exposing their midsections. Those jutting white nibs aren't weapons, at least not intentional ones. They are actually the worm's penises, a double-barreled inseminator, if they can shoot first. Flatworm sex consists of the two attempting to stab their lover with their pointed pair and inseminate each other, an act delicately referred to as penis fencing. But there's nothing delicate about it. Flatworms have been known to gouge holes in each other in battles lasting up to an hour. Why do they cross swords? Producing offspring requires a lot of energy. The winning father can go out and about in the world without any further responsibility. The losing mother absorbs the winner's sperm. It must now work longer and harder to find food and stay alive. The father floats merrily along. The mother crawls along looking for a meal, already the responsible one. Yep, parenthood can be a drag. The kids get under your skin, and you just want them off your back. Literally. These Suriname sea toads are finally breaking free from mom. And those holes? Those are her back. Her offspring have developed from eggs into frogs underneath her skin. And now it's time for them to move on, leaving her a little cratered. Boy, and you thought stretch marks were bad. For the Argonaut octopus, love is a fleeting affair. The small male departs after mating with the larger female. But he leaves her a weird little gift to remember him by. A detachable arm filled with sperm that can shake its jelly roll long after the male is gone. It's a dangerous world out there. Creatures fight tooth and claw, if they're boring. It's much cooler and much stranger to load up on exotic weaponry. Poisoned spines, acid drills, double jaws, bullet claws. No cheat codes allowed to get these weapons. Just cold, hard evolution. Ready, aim, fire. This siphon acts as a breathing tube and a warning. Emerging from the sediment is its owner, a 6-inch long, toxic killer. The cone snail. Snails are usually thought of as slow, slimy, and delicious in a garlic butter sauce. But with some 40,000 different species of snails, a few are bound to buck the system. In the waters of Southeast Asia, this is the underwater version of a tank, with a hard spiral shell, flexible treads, and down in front, a cannon. It has eye stalks on either side, but it hunts primarily by scent, using its siphon. The target? A nearby fish. The fish hides deeper under the rock, rather than swimming away. Bad idea. It still has room to move. But inside this probing tube called a proboscis, the cone snail has a long-range weapon, a harpoon. Made of modified tooth, the harpoon can be launched by a quick muscular contraction. Fish hunting snails are particularly dangerous, with venom strong enough to kill a human. This harpoon is cocked and loaded. Target is within range. The cone snail strikes. The fish is paralyzed within seconds, reeled back in, and swallowed. With a full belly, the cone snail returns under the sediment, its siphon peeking out as a reminder and a warning. Heed it. Our next weapons master looks more like a Christmas ornament than a killer. What looks like flashing neon is light refracting off of thousands of cilia, tiny hair-like propellers along comb-like ridges that give the animals their name. Comb jellies. These tiny creatures aren't jellyfish, though they look similar. One big difference: comb jellies don't grow stingers like jellyfish do, which doesn't mean that they're harmless. They may look pretty, but appearances, as is usually the case, are deceiving. They have other, weirder weapons. In their hunt for plankton, crustaceans, and each other, some comb jellies, like this burrowee, have evolved a simple approach: a big mouth and a bigger appetite. It has no brain or specialized senses, only a primitive neural net around the mouth that can detect chemical traces in the water. When it bumps into something edible, it simply opens wide, very wide. The burrowee zips its mouth shut, holding its prey in place with specialized hooks. Other comb jellies have a more complicated way of snatching up prey. Coating the tentacles are specialized adhesive cells that act like glue. Once trapped, prey are drawn into the gut and digested. Size is rarely an issue. Comb jellies attack tiny appetizers and full-course meals. The comb jelly snaps its tentacles at the green jellyfish, but it can't drag it in. The jellyfish counterattacks with the stinging tentacles. Stingers beat glue. The jellyfish pulls free and escapes with its life. The comb jelly flickers through the ocean, unconcerned and ready for its next opportunity. Let's get large with our next weapons master. Male narwhals can weigh nearly 2 tons. With bodies up to 16 feet long. But it's their tusks that make them weird among whales. The tusk is actually a single gigantic tooth that can reach 10 feet in length. Narwhals, like their dolphin cousins, use sonar to guide them through the depths. The tusk is jam-packed with nerve endings. Some scientists argue it acts as some kind of sensor. That would be one insightful incisor. But it's the males who predominantly sport the tusks. If the tusks had a survival advantage, the females would also be long in the tooth. Some scientists believe this means the tusk serves the same function as a deer's antlers or a teenager's hot rod, a way to show who's the fittest male around. Males occasionally cross swords. That's tickling the ivories. But whether it's a joust or a jaw session is anybody's guess. And the narwhals aren't telling. These animals may look like boring lumps, but sea cucumbers have all sorts of surprises. This hairy sea cucumber takes several hours to burrow under the sand. Its body now safely hidden, it's time to eat. It unfurls its feathery tentacles. Any microscopic morsel it finds gets pulled down into its mouth. A miniature forest of cukes filter the water clean of organic debris. But at the first sign of trouble, the forest vanishes to feed another time. It knows no fear, possibly because it has no brain. Instead, a nerve ring around its mouth tells it when to move, when to fight, and when to eat. In the animal kingdom, there's no emergency rooms, band-aids, or kisses from mommy. Fighting takes guts. For this cuke, that's no metaphor. A fish nips at its backside, the wrong side. It expels its guts out of its very own ring of fire. Their filaments are sticky and toxic. If the fish gets caught, it might die. The fish wants no part of this fight, or this surprisingly resourceful lump. These baby loggerheads have no idea what weirdness awaits them in the ocean. But that doesn't stop them. From the moment they hatch, they head straight for water they've never been in, toward a destination they've never seen. They use their vision to head toward the water. But once they're there, they can determine their route by sensing which way the waves are hitting them. They're the only animal known to do this. And once they're out at sea, they can sense subtle differences in the Earth's magnetic field to determine exactly where they are. Unless they get eaten first. As the loggerheads migrate across the sea, they're likely to encounter a Portuguese man of war. Drifting along the ocean's surface on a gas-filled sack, The man-o-war trails a curtain of tentacles up to 100 feet long through the water. Paralyzing stingers sweep up the slow and unwary. Humans suffer severe pain. Smaller animals don't suffer for very long. They are dragged into the man-o-war's mouths. But man-of-wars are known to gather in swarms of thousands, making their part of the sea a dangerous place to be. Unless you're a nudibranch. Nudibranchs are sea slugs. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors, and superpowers. This nudibranch hovers near the water's surface. It has the ability to stay buoyant by gulping large amounts of air and floating like a balloon. It drifts toward its prey, the Portuguese man-of-war. The man-of-war is more than 50 times the size of the nudibranch. Suicidally insane? Not when you have superpowers. It nips away at the man-o-war's tentacles. They are covered in stinging nematocysts capable of killing a small fish or making a grown man cry. But the nudibranch is immune, thanks to a thick layer of mucus coated around its mouth. While it gobbles tentacles, it also ingests some of the nematocyst stingers. Whatever doesn't kill a nudibranch makes it stronger. It passes the stingers from its gut to underneath its skin and recycles them for its own defense. So when this filefish tries to take a bite out of the nudibranch, the fish gets a painful jolt, but nothing more. After all, with great power comes great responsibility. Sea otters are one of the few mammals to use weapons. Their favorite tools are rocks and babies. While an otter can use a rock to force open a stubborn clam, it can also use a kidnapped baby to force its frantic mother to bring back food as ransom for her pup. If an animal doesn't have a weird weapon, the next best thing is a weird survival strategy. It's not enough to have a hiding place. It's not impressive to have a hard shell. No, not in a program called The World's Weirdest. Only the outlandish need apply. Fish with frightening wings. Clams in a one-legged race. Clowns protected by toxic tentacles. These game plans help our contestants win in the only way that counts: staying alive. In the jungles of Panama, basilisk lizards spend most of their time by the water's edge, hunting for insects and fish. This one has scored a good spot. A butterfly flutters in range, lured by the smell of fallen fruit. The hungry basilisk watches intently, unaware that something else is watching it. The basilisk strikes. An easy catch. It tucks in, but doesn't watch out. A bushmaster viper awaits the chance to strike. The serpent's fangs drip with lethal venom, and it has the advantage of surprise. The bushmaster has the basilisk cornered against the riverbank. It moves in for the kill. But the basilisk has a special power. It can walk on water, an ability that has earned it the nickname the Jesus lizard. Its webbed feet slap against the surface of the water. This creates an air pocket beneath its feet that slows it entering the water before the next step lifts it out, averaging 5 feet per second, 3.5 miles an hour. It won't win any races. Most basilisks only get 15 feet before sinking, but it's enough to cross the river. The Bushmaster can only watch helplessly. The basilisk appears on the opposite side of the bank, hungry but still alive. In Japan, staying alive after you eat a toxic pufferfish is a common goal. In fact, here they are considered a delicacy, a potentially lethal one. Their skin and liver contain tetrodotoxin, a lethal paralyzing agent. One bad slice of pufferfish sashimi can kill a grown man. Some pufferfish have prickly spikes that lay flat against their skin until they're alarmed. It gulps down water into its elastic stomach, bloating its body into an instant beach ball. Oddball defenses are good in theory, but what about in practice? Let's find out in an underwater battle royale. In this corner, the reigning featherweight champion, H.R. Pufnstuf. In this corner, the double-jawed death dealer, Mr. Moray Eel. The eel strikes first, but the pufferfish moves up a weight class. The eel can't maintain its grip, and the pufferfish lurches away. Oddly enough, the pufferfish saved not only its own life, but the eel's as well. Had the eel managed to make a meal out of the toxic puffer, it would have been its last. This disc-shaped fish looks like it belongs more in outer space than underwater. But the mola mola, or sunfish, is no stranger to the oceans. When you're as big as a pickup truck, you go anywhere you please. It spends most of its time diving in the depths for its main prey, jellyfish. Jellies are more numerous than nutritious, so the sunfish spends most of its time feeding. But it doesn't have food on its mind right now. Today, it's come to the surface to deal with a bigger problem, one of a confidential nature. Parasites. Sunfish can be infested with some 40 different kinds. In the marine world, don't try to remove them yourself. Seek kelp. These beds of floating kelp are home to the half-moon fish, who will gladly take care of the problem. Weird? Maybe, but it's just what the doctor ordered. Even in the wild, though, you'll still have to wait for your appointment. The sunfish float in line until it's their turn. Then they flop on their sides to be tended to. The cleaner fish are thorough, but some parasites are beyond even them. So the sunfish seeks out a specialist. A seagull. The gull surgically hacks into the sunfish's flesh and snaps up the last remaining holdouts. Finally free and clear, the sunfish can go back to feeding. But the sunfish has it easy. Compared to clams off the coast of New England. It's tough being a clam. They have no brains. They're popular in chowder. They won't set any speed records. But they do have a foot. Well, a foot that looks like a tongue, but sometimes that's all you need. Along the shallow coastline of the Atlantic, these surf clams spend their days filter feeding for plankton. Some hide under the sand, only a siphon peeking out to feed. They may have no brain, but they're not stupid. Staying under the sand is a good survival strategy. To counteract this, cow-nosed rays stir up the loose sand to expose the clams, then crush them with their powerful jaws. Other hunters, like this oyster catcher, have a different method to get a half-shell platter. They slice the muscles on this jackknife clam and pop open the shell. They don't have eyes per se, but clams do have special photoreceptor cells. A sudden change in the light means something bigger and hungrier is above them. When they sense danger, they dig down. The fastest clams can dig an inch per second. Is it enough to keep this clam alive? Success. That's one clam that's as happy as, well, you get the idea. Some fish probably wish they had eyes in the back of their head, but the Pacific barrel eye went overboard. It has evolved a fluid-filled, see-through skull. This allows its big green eyes to see prey swimming above it. Those two black pits in front that look like eyes are actually its nose. Down, Periscope. We've made it through weird lookalikes, weird behaviors, weird weapons, and weird sex lives. Now we come to the creme de la creme of weirdness. The camera-shy creatures that will haunt your nightmares. Like the blobfish, the fangtooth, and the viperfish. But our champion of the weird has them all beat. It lives in total darkness, at depths of up to a mile below sea level, and what has been referred to as the midnight zone. Down here, don't be afraid of the dark. Be afraid of the light. The light is a lure wielded by our champion of the weird, the deep-sea anglerfish. The lure is created by bioluminescent bacteria that live inside the angler. It drifts through the water, flashing its beacon, waiting for something to take the bait. This squid thinks it's found an easy meal. A fatal mistake. The squid was smaller than the angler, but had it been bigger, the anglerfish is prepared. This far down, meals are few and far between, so to make the most of every opportunity, this anglerfish has evolved a distending jaw and expandable stomach. Want more weird? We have it. This is a black devil angler. A female, to be precise. She is after this fish. It's not a meal, it's her mate. This is the male black devil angler. A specialized scent organ locks in on the ladies. If it's difficult to find food this deep, it's even more difficult to find a girlfriend. Deep-sea anglerfish solve the problem by having extremely clingy relationships and never letting go. ever. The male bites into her belly. His body releases an enzyme that dissolves the skin under the bite and fuses his mouth to her body. Then the two become one. He will draw sustenance from her for the rest of his life. In return, the female has a ready supply of sperm for whenever she's ready to mate. Thank you, deep-sea anglerfish, for bringing so much weirdness into our lives. You make all the other animals in this show seem normal, and that's quite a feat. Because of all the creepy creatures that roam this earth, none are weirder or wilder than the ones you find underwater. Be very careful. Look around. Weird creatures are waiting to strike. Their tools are bizarre. They have eye-popping defenses. And when they feed their young, nothing is sacred. Nothing is safe when the world's weirdest land creatures are on the loose. The freaks on land. Only some of life's challenges can be solved with ordinary jaws and claws. It takes truly weird tools to solve truly tough problems. Tongue detection and tongue projection. Web warriors and treetop signalers. These are some of the strangest adaptations in nature's toolbox. This is the aye-aye, a kind of lemur found only on the island of Madagascar. Local legends cast it as a demon, a creature that can kill just by pointing a finger. The truth is more natural than supernatural, but they're right about the finger. To find its prey, it uses a multi-purpose digit. The changes in sound build a mental map of hollow channels inside. It cups its ears to gather the slightest vibration that could signify something to eat, like a grub. Sharp incisors rip away the bark. Its bony middle finger changes roles from a scanner to a scraper. It claws in and out of gaps, enlarging the hole. The grub doesn't know what the aye-aye is, but it does know what it means. Death, if it can't wriggle away. The aye-aye locks in. The finger transforms into a hook. A sharp fingernail impales the grub. It's dragged up, out, and into the aye-aye's mouth. By day, Madagascar is just as weird. Chameleons are more famous as hiders than hunters. But this perception isn't always accurate. When it comes to catching prey, the panther chameleon has an arsenal of tools at its disposal. Each eye can operate independently and rotate a full 180 degrees to spot prey several feet away. It feeds on insects that can hop, fly, and scurry away to a safe distance. But what's a safe distance when you've got a tongue like this? Let's look at that again, this time in slow motion. Special tissues spring the tongue out of the mouth like a catapult. Moving at 1,000 miles an hour, the tongue unspools 1.5 feet to reach the far branch. A mucus-covered tip slams into the bug. It's reeled back in and eaten. Like many spiders, this femme fatale sits in her web, her tool for everything. There, she waits for food to come to her. That's not as easy as it sounds. She has 8 eyes, but barely uses them. She perceives much of her world through her hairy legs. She finds her prey mainly by sensing vibrations along her web. Then, she charges blindly across her high-wire grid. First, she bites. Neurotoxins paralyze the struggling moth. Digestive enzymes turn its insides into goo. Then she wraps it up. Her back legs pull silk from her spinneret and encase the moth. The wrapping keeps the spider out of harm's way, and if she's already eaten, it preserves the moth for a later meal. There are no forks and knives in Spiderland, and no teeth either. Instead, she sucks up the insides of her bug burrito as a liquid lunch. Even a male of the species is fair game. He approaches her with an 8-toed dance step that vibrates her web with a clear message. I'm your boyfriend, not your breakfast. She lets him approach. He spools his sperm into her. But once his dance moves are over, so is he. She can't help herself. It's just too easy. And now, a postcard from the edge of weirdness. After a hard day of harassment from hungry lions, this hippo needs a little pampering, and it knows just where to go to get the full spa treatment. A lovely spring in Kenya. Carp nip away dead skin and parasites. Cichlid fish clean the bristles on its tail. But it's the barbel fish that are responsible for this weird little postcard. They take care of the hind quarters, and they're pretty diligent about it. In fact, they compete for the honor because hippo dung is full of nutrients. As its skin is pampered and cleansed, it gets the same treatment in its mouth and ends up feeling like a totally new hippo. Scaly skin is a bonus for the pangolin when it's out looking for dinner. The pangolin is not very ferocious. It doesn't even have teeth. it's not very fast. In fact, it has to wobble on its hind legs and tail. But it does have two formidable tools. First, its claws are huge. This is nature's backhoe. It can pry out rocks and rip up hard, dry ground. It does so with a singular purpose: to find ants and termites. And once it rips open the side of the ant colony, it dives in head first. Its second weird tool is a long, sticky tongue, which slips through every crack and crevice. Continually lubricated by an overactive salivary gland, the tongue gathers up thousands of ants every day. The ants haven't evolved a new way to defend their colony. They stick with the old standby: swarm and bite. But the pangolin's scales are a formidable obstacle. Its eyes have a thick lid. Its ears and nose have special valves that close off when the ants attack. The surviving ants may be able to regroup and rebuild. But when they do, the pangolin will be there to destroy it all over again. Too bad ants don't have this monkey's nose for detecting trouble. He is the leader of a small harem of females and young. For the proboscis monkey, size matters. Nearly 3 feet tall, the males weigh twice as much as the smaller females. And a big nose generates big interest from the ladies. This stretch of mangrove swamps in Borneo is his domain. And here he must watch over his harem. They forage in the trees for young leaves and fruit. They have webbed feet to help them swim, and can even walk upright in shallow water. But the monkeys are not the only ones in the river. Crocodiles lurk underneath. This mother knows how to cross quietly and with little splashing. But the youngsters try a different method. Leaping across keeps them out of the water. Mostly. But the noise attracts the croc. And the mother is still midstream. The male spots the crocodile. The large nose resonates the warning call, amplifying it over the noise of the water. The mother turns. The croc moves in for the kill. But this time, the croc must search elsewhere. The mother was just a touch quicker, winning by a nose. The best offense against weird tools is a demented defense. Hunters can easily become the hunted if they're not careful. While it hurts to skip a few meals, it hurts even more to never eat again. That's why these animals have evolved some mind-boggling defenses: poisons, projectiles, and feats of speed. Hailing from the Pacific Northwest, the rough-skinned newt is one rough customer. Looking for tiny invertebrates, it has wandered out of its riverside territory and into the garter snakes. The newt seems unaware, or unconcerned. Tiny glands in its skin are home to deadly bacteria. They produce tetrodotoxin, a lethal poison that paralyzes the muscles, stopping the diaphragm and heart. Garter snakes, though, have evolved a tetrodotoxin tolerance. An arms race between snake and newt has led to higher and higher levels of both resistance and toxicity, to the point that the newt contains enough poison to kill a creature far larger than its normal predators, like a human. So the question becomes, which animal is further along in the race? The newt arches its back and displays its orange underbelly, a clear signal that it's not to be messed with. The garter snake decides it's not worth the risk. But the same cannot be said for all predators. The newt returns to its stream, only to encounter another threat. One closer on the family tree, a bullfrog. Bullfrogs are insatiable and indiscriminate. It swallows the newt whole. Inside the bullfrog's belly, it's a race between the stomach's acids and the newt's poison. The frog collapses and dies. The newt climbs out and is finally on the way home. Sometimes the best defense is a helpful friend. This is not a plant. It's a sloth. Sloths are tree dwellers and possibly the slowest moving mammals in the world, with an average ground speed of 6 to 8 feet per minute. Algae grow in the sloth's shaggy fur, which attracts friendly moths. Their presence helps conceal the sloths from predators, who mistake it for just another lump of moth-infested greenery. Once a week, the sloths must descend from their arboreal homes to poop. The moths breed in the sloth's excrement, so it's a good partnership, most of the time. But the sloth's movements capture attention. They don't call this guy Eagle Eyes for nothing. Even the very best camouflage has its limits. And soon, there's nothing left of the sloth. When camouflage as a defense is not an option, learn to stand your ground with the Goliath bird-eating spider. It's a tarantula with a slight PR problem. Big? Yes. Its nearly foot-long leg span could cover a person's head. But bird-eating? Practically never. It prowls the Amazon mainly in search of insects, with the occasional frog or rodent, like this one. Fangs, almost an inch long, pump neurotoxins into the dying mouse. The spider hauls it back to its burrow, liquefying the insides before sucking its meal dry. But this fearsome predator has predators of its own. There are some mammals and snakes that would make short work of it. And it can't hide if it doesn't even know they're there. Its eyesight is poor. But this one's luck, though, is spot on. Usually, the spider relies on vibration-sensitive hairs to warn it of danger. Tonight, danger takes the form of a coati. The spider bares its fangs, warning, back off or be bitten. But the coati isn't frightened. The spider needs a long-range weapon. Fortunately, it has one. Many, actually. Other hairs on its body are tipped with tiny stinging barbs. By rubbing its legs, it flicks them up into the air in a cloud of miniature missiles. Like tiny slivers, they burn eyes, nose, and mouth. The coati's appetite is gone. And so is the Goliath bird eater. We move from the jungles of South America to the deserts of North America. The horned lizard. Its known aliases include the horned frog and the horny toad. But it's no amphibian. Just a one-reptile wrecking crew with a bizarre self-defense strategy. We'll get to that in a second. It eats mostly harvester ants, but it doesn't have any fancy hunting methods. When a foraging column of ants crosses its path, it laps them up. The ants try to fight back, but their mandibles are of little use against the lizard's scales, no matter how hard they try. But a coyote is a different story. And that's when the lizard rolls out its weird defense. It fires its own version of pepper spray. Thin blood vessels around the eyes rupture under pressure and squirt blood out at the attacker. In addition to the ick factor, the blood contains canine repellent chemicals. Disgusted and weirded out, the coyote flees, leaving the lizard to wait for more ants. Weirdness is not always on the outside. Sometimes the strangest things are on the inside. Behaviors, strategies, and habits that seem crazy, and maybe are crazy. How else do you explain poison gourmets and flying monkeys? Discover the method behind the madness. Our unlikely heroines are fire ants, a colony several 100,000 strong. Rapacious, tenacious, and industrious, they are impossible to eradicate as long as their queen is alive. But their colony faces just such a threat. The river beside it is flooding. The deluge rushes in. What else to do then but swim? The colony floats out as a living raft. The most precious members of the colony, the larvae and the queen ant, are kept safely dry in the middle. The queen ant can give birth to some 3 million ants over her lifetime. If they can reach dry land, they stand a good chance of rebuilding. But there is danger below. The fish pick off the ants one by one. If enough ants are pulled down, the raft will collapse, and the colony will be destroyed. The ants grimly hold on and reach the other side. They hoist the ant larvae up to dry ground, ensuring the survival of their colony for future generations. And with their survival secure, the fire ants revert to type, attacking every living thing in sight. A different type of killer stalks the treetops of the Amazon. It is ravenous, relentless, and without pity. The pygmy marmoset. It may look like 4 ounces of cute and fluffy, but the world's smallest monkey is no plaything. It can leap 15 feet in a single bound and move along the slightest of branches to snatch its prey. Insects, though, are merely an afternoon protein boost. This family of marmosets gets its main meal from a bump-covered tree. The bumps are scar tissue built up over months of daily attacks by these vicious sapsuckers. The marmosets feed mostly on gum. Using specially adapted teeth and claws, they rip open the freshly covered wounds and keep the sap flowing until the tree is too scarred to provide any longer. Then they'll move on to fresh territory that's inhabited by other marmosets. Marmoset families are like the Hatfields and McCoys and don't take lightly to interlopers. The incoming Hatfields invade the McCoys' turf, itching for a fix. The McCoys retreat to a nearby tree. They watch helplessly as the newcomers raid their stash. Chirping and scent marking, the parents gather up their frightened young and launch a counterattack. The Hatfields are forced to flee. The sweet nectar of success. They may look cute, but don't get between a marmoset and its gum. It looks like an ordinary place. A country garden. But something weird is going on. Hedgehogs are on the prowl. Not for food or for mates, but for strange smells. Like these cans of turpentine. When the hedgehogs smell something intriguing, they lick it up. Turpentine is hazardous to humans, but hedgehogs have a strong resistance to toxins. Other hedgehogs find a dropped pack of cigarettes and start to munch on the tobacco. What comes next is even stranger. They lather up and spread it all over their spines. It might take a while to cover all 5,000 spines. But hedgehogs have the time and the contortion skills to get the job done. Why do they do this? The experts have their theories. Some argue that hedgehogs anoint themselves to tip their spines with poison that is toxic to their enemies. Others maintain the toxins may be used to kill off parasites. And still other scientists think they're trying to fool predators by covering their own scent. Whatever the reason, it's definitely weird behavior. This next weird species has no spines to cover itself with. In fact, it's naked. The naked mole rat, to be precise. Although it's neither a mole nor a rat. And much about their behavior is strange. They spend their entire lives in virtually complete darkness. weaving their way through an underground network of burrows and tunnels. Within their dark universe, they've evolved a rigid society that has more in common with ants or bees than with a typical mammalian social circle. At the top is a long, strong queen. She is the mother of all the other mole rats in the colony, which may total a few dozen or a few hundred. As long as she lives, she and a few chosen boy toys are the only ones that breed. The queen keeps the rest from mating by sheer intimidation. Their lives are all work and no foreplay. Some mole rats are drafted as soldiers to protect the colony from rival mole rats and predators. A quick sniff determines insider from outsider. Other mole rats tend to the young, clean burrows, dig tunnels, and look for food. Their giant incisors actually are outside their mouths, so the mole rats can shovel away without eating dirt. They dig in teams. The lead digger carves out the tunnel. Others pass the dirt back up the tunnel and out onto the surface. Going backwards or forwards is all the same. Though nearly blind, special hairs on their body help guide them and tell them where they're going. And even when traveling in the tunnels, each one's status in the hierarchy is clearly visible. The more senior members of the colony take the high road, while the juniors wriggle through underneath. The tunnels are only a few inches wide, but a full-fledged colony can stretch for half a mile. All this work is done to find their principal food, tubers scattered across the savanna. One of these giant roots can feed a colony for 2 to 3 weeks. And though they are born into a strict hierarchy, when it comes to food, everyone is equal. If anything makes the honey badger weird, it's probably its utter fearlessness. Though it's only about 2 feet long and 30 pounds, this honey badger is so combative, it can drive off bigger animals like jackals and leopards. And while many animals avoid bees, the honey badger dives right into their hive to eat their larvae. The badger's thick skin offers some protection from bee stings. Later, the badger spots a puff adder with some freshly killed prey. Puff adders are among the most venomous snakes in the world. One bite from these fangs could kill a lion. But that's not going to stop this honey badger from stealing the snake's dinner. And when the snake's dinner is not enough, the honey badger goes after the snake itself. But this time around, the honey badger finally may have bitten off more than it can chew. It looks like a goner. But 2 hours later, the badger rises like a phoenix from the ashes, and seemingly ravenous as ever, goes back to its meal. All animals have the need to breed. In the game of life, he who reproduces wins. But finding a mate is not always enough. Parents must do whatever it takes to give their young an edge in the battle for survival. They are tucked inside pouches and hidden underground, cleaned, weaned, and carried around. And some parents even die for their unborn young. This praying mantis has been superbly engineered for speed and power. And has a voracious appetite for other insects. A little too voracious, if you ask this male. Autumn is in the air, and he's feeling frisky. But time is not on his side. He must mate before the killing winter arrives. This is his best chance. A well-fed female is a well-mannered one. He latches on to her shapely thorax and cautiously inserts sperm into her abdomen. The female waits patiently, or is it hungrily? He has all the time to wonder. Mating can last for hours. But not this time. She devours his head. This doesn't stop their affair. If anything, his dying spasms increase the amount of sperm delivered. When the female has had enough, she breaks things off and dumps him. A harsh fate? Not necessarily. Unlike thousands of other mantises who died early, he got to breed. In the game of life, that's a resounding victory. Munching on his carcass provides her with additional nourishment she can use when she lays her eggs. Up to 200 of them. They'll stay here over the winter and hatch in the spring. But not all mothers are so murderous. Gray kangaroos like to keep their young close by. Very close. A baby roo will call its mother's pouch home for almost a year. But how it gets there in the first place is a strange and harrowing journey. At 1 month old, the baby roo, barely more than the size of a jelly bean, emerges from one of its mother's 2 uteri. Once it's outside her body, it grips her fur, and though it still hasn't developed eyes, it instinctively relies on its forelegs to crawl up towards her pouch. It takes a few minutes for the tiny roo to reach the pouch. That's it, there. Within minutes, it reaches her pouch and latches on to its mother's teeth. That's enough travel to suit the young roo for a long while. Over the next few months, it grows inside the pouch. Even once it ventures outside, it's still not ready for cross-country trekking. For 9 more months, this joey will rely on its mother's pouch for shelter, transportation, and protection if it senses danger. Even after it leaves the pouch, it stays by its mother's side, nursing for an additional 1 to 6 months. The pouch, though, is now off limits. Its mother will already be carrying her next baby. From now on, the joey will have to travel on its own 2 feet. But kangaroos aren't the weirdest mothers in Australia. Not by a long shot. This walking, sniffing ball of spines is an echidna. It's a mother on a mission. She's hunting for ants and termites. To find them underground or under wood, she uses her strong sense of smell and another, weirder sense. Studies suggest that special cells in her beak are sensitive to the electromagnetic signals emitted by all living things. It's a sense usually found in sharks and rays, but the echidna may be the only land mammal that has the ability to search for food this way. She's uncovered a colony of ants and uses her long, sticky tongue to slurp them up. She needs the nutrition. She's already given birth to an egg. Echidnas, along with their cousin, the platypus, are the only egg-laying mammals in the world. The egg incubates in a simple pouch under her belly. Inside, a baby echidna, called a puggle, develops. After about 10 days, the egg hatches. The puggle stays inside the pouch, nursing from its mother's milk and packing on the ounces. 2 months later, the puggle starts to grow spines. That's its mother's cue to move it to a burrow, where she'll continue to take care of it for 7 more months. All that effort means a lot of food. So her mission remains the same: find more to eat. A baby is the beginning of something special. Usually dinner. Just ask any tadpole. These teeming and tasty treats are a favorite meal for bugs, fish, and even each other. It's a rare, tough pollywog that grows up to crawl out of the water. In its forest home of South America, the Darwin's frog resembles an overweight leaf. But not all that extra weight is its own. The male's vocal sac is reserved for another purpose: raising his young. The female will lay 3 to 7 eggs. Those that hatch into tadpoles are gulped up by the father until they're ready to fend for themselves. Inside his vocal sac, they transform into miniature versions of their old man. It's a sheltered life. They don't get out much, but they make it out alive. Which is more than we can say for this furry fellow. Whose untimely death is a bonanza for this next weird creature, the burying beetle. These beetles take recycling to a bizarre extreme. For this enterprising insect, a cadaver is a perfect place to raise a family. A female arrives. Love is in the stinky air. Impressed with his find, she moves in, or rather down. The beetles will bury the body up to 2 feet underground. They must hide it from vultures and the many other scavengers who fancy a shrew. For the other scavengers, a dead shrew is just another meal. But for the burying beetles, this cadaver is far more than a food source. It's their nursery. Burying it is only the first step in a very long remodeling process. Their mandibles strip away the fur. Chemicals are secreted over the body to prevent it from spoiling, until it becomes unrecognizable from its former shrew self. It's the beetle's equivalent of a well-stocked fridge, ready for the arrival of many hungry babies, up to 30, depending on the size of the corpse. The parents protect them, clean them, and even feed them. They chew up the corpse and regurgitate it as beetle baby formula. By the time the corpse is gone, the larvae will be ready to transform into adults. They'll go out into the world in search of a freshly dead body of their very own. Burying beetles for sheer icky weirdness. Your cadaver bassinet can hardly be outdone. But the competition's been tough. With spike-covered bandits and armor-plated rustlers, giant battles, and tiny attacks, the world's weirdest animals are a creepy bunch of critters, and you'd better be ready to jump out of their way. Air, the lightest element, a habitat that humans still struggle to enter. But the sky isn't just for the birds. It's home to lovers and fighters, parasites and predators, and even real vampires. The world's weirdest flyers are ready for takeoff. These are the freaks of the sky. When moving through the air, the sky is the limit. But to really leave the earthbound world behind, you need to bust a few moves. Like lift, direction, strength, and nerves of steel. Whether jumping or gliding, hovering or diving, these animals make defying gravity look easy, especially since a lot of them don't even have wings. When you've got fur instead of feathers, going airborne takes some guts. But the flying squirrel never hesitates to leap into the void. Luckily, he comes equipped with a built-in parachute. A membrane stretches from wrist to ankle, turning the squirrel into a living, breathing paper airplane. With each leap, the squirrel takes aim and spreads its body into a square. A cartilage rod attached to their wrists helps them steer during flight. The rodents glide through the forest like ghosts, their tails acting as a stabilizer and a brake. They may look like daredevils, but flying squirrels have plenty to be scared of. Snakes, owls, raccoons, and even cats constantly hunt them. But no matter what, this squirrel will always have an escape plan. Gliding is like a built-in life insurance policy. wingless predators need not apply. In its movements, the next flyer is less of a glider and more of a bomber. A weapon with just one target: seafood. To a flock of hungry Cape gannets, a swarm of sardines looks like an all-you-can-eat buffet. But the fish have no intention of ending up on the menu. To avoid being singled out by predators like tuna and dolphins, sardines band together in an enormous, tightly swirling mass called a bait ball. It's a formidable defensive move, until the wall of scales shatters from an air-launched weapon. Cape gannets, the ultimate in avian military technology. They can dive from the height of a 30-story office building, reaching speeds up to 60 miles an hour. And on the way down, they turn into torpedoes. Before they hit the water, Cape gannets fold their wings straight back, transforming into aerodynamic missiles. And they do it perfectly with every single dive. A millisecond too late, and it would be like plunging into a brick wall. With a quick underwater wing flap, they can dive to depths of over 40 feet. They can even swallow their seafood meal on the way back up, if they want to avoid a fish-fueled fight. This bird's body is built for impact. Air sacs and fat provide a cushion every time one hits the water. And their bright white plumage broadcasts to other seabirds to come join in the spoils. Faced with an Air Force and the Navy, the bait ball becomes sardine sushi. Now that's an MRE any airborne soldier would love. It takes a lot to feed the flying mechanism. This flyer is going to need a few extra meals to fuel its freakishly fast metabolism. Imagine having to eat your body weight every day and still weighing less than an ounce. That's a diet, hummingbird style. If they were human-sized, they would need to eat 155,000 calories a day. But don't get jealous yet. That means visiting over 1,000 flowers daily. So nature has engineered these little guys for extreme amounts of exercise. Their wings can beat up to 200 times per second. Their flight speed can match a major league fastball, and that's without steroids. But they do need oxygen, and lots of it. During flight, the hummingbird takes as many as 500 breaths per minute, all to power a nectar-drinking hovercraft that can weigh less than a single dime. Any Air Force would kill to enlist this flying machine. The average hummingbird can outmaneuver almost anything on the wing, flying up, down, sideways, backwards, and even upside down. They fly so well, they barely use their feet. It's kind of amazing that they ever developed legs. And it's even more incredible that this airborne mammal developed wings. In Australia, little red flying foxes spend their whole lives among the trees. So a good pair of wings is pretty important. Except that these aren't really wings. They're more like hands. 3-foot wide alien hands with webbed fingers, that is. In the air, the flexible digits act like fingers, spreading the thin membrane between them to control direction and altitude. All that maneuverability will come in handy for this flyby. One way the big bats can drink water is to skim the surface of a river and lick the droplets of water off their fur. But one missed approach, and plenty of predators lurk beneath the surface. So the foxes have to keep those wings working like a well-oiled machine. A good licking keeps those hands primed for flight. Since flying foxes never stay in one spot for long, each bat has to be locked and loaded. They just have to keep their hands out of the water. You may not always need wings to take to the air, but fins aren't normally associated with flying. Yet some fish spend a remarkable amount of time out of their native element, especially if they're driven by an incredibly strong homing instinct. Most adult salmon spend their lives at sea. But when it comes time to lay eggs, they head home to the river they were born in, a journey that can take thousands of miles. That's one heck of a class reunion. Swimming as far as 50 miles a day upstream in a raging torrent isn't exactly easy. If there's something in the way, there's only one option: jump. Legends once told that salmon hurled themselves over waterfalls by taking their tails in their mouths and flinging their bodies into the air like a bow from an arrow. Not exactly. Instead, it's all about timing. The fish use strong upward currents created when falling water displaces the water beneath it. The currents help propel them over waterfalls and rapids. But they don't just depend on river conditions. These fish have more moves than an Olympic high jumper. They can leap more than 10 feet into the air. But charging upstream and jumping waterfalls is much more than the fish equivalent of the decathlon. It's a death wish. When the salmon are running, even the laziest predators have easy pickings. The fish have to just keep swimming and hope for the best. But for their future babies, life will be even harder. Less than 10% of fry will survive to make the same journey. Given those odds, a bear's jaws start to look pretty good. While salmon leap towards danger, Asian carp fly high to avoid it. It seems like an angler's dream. Fair weather and the fish are jumping right into the boat. But no one wants fish to jump like this. Asian carp can weigh over 50 pounds, so a flying fish to the face is no joke. These bruisers have broken noses and knocked people out. Even noise and bubbles from the smallest outboard motor, well, scares the carp out of them. And for these fish, fright equals flight. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's superfish. But these aren't homegrown heroes. They're an invasive army. Asian carp accidentally escaped from fish farms in the Deep South in the 1970s and spread like wildfire, gobbling up all the indigenous fish and plankton in their path. Strangely, the species never jumped in their native Chinese habitat, leading some scientists to think that the original fugitive fish could have been skittish scaredy cats, passing that trait on to their millions of offspring. Now, all those grown-up fish fry are within spitting distance of the Great Lakes, and the people of Bath, Illinois aim to do their part to stop them. Every year, they hold the Redneck Fishing Tournament. There's only one rule: no rods. And only one goal: net as many invasive carp as possible.
Oh, nice! There you go. That's how you do it.
Oh, and make sure you know how to duck.
Yeah!
Because that's a skill you'll want to have in this jungle. Here, in the thick canopy of the Malaysian rainforest, the best way to move around is by air. Even if you don't have wings. Yes, there are snakes that can fly. Well, glide, actually. Gliding tree snakes can use their serpentine bodies to glide from tree to tree, or even float from the treetops to the ground. But they don't just slither to the end of a branch and jump. As it takes off, the reptile's ribs fan out and flatten, transforming its body into an aerodynamic wing. These snakes aren't on a plane. They are the plane. And they aren't bad pilots either. In flight, the snake forms the shape of a letter S, directing air over the front and back of its body, which helps add lift. This calculated movement allows it to choose a location hundreds of feet away, change direction in the air, and land without a scratch. It's a quick way to navigate the jungle. And it also gives the element of surprise. But sometimes, the potential victim can also go airborne. The flying dragon can glide half the length of a football field and still swoop in for a perfect three-point landing. Loose folds of skin on the lizard's sides expand into a cape attached to its ribs, enabling it to glide. Though clumsy on the ground, safety from predators is only a jump away. And in our postcard from the edge of weirdness, the African bush baby shows how to get the jump on predators when it hunts at night. A third of the bush baby's body mass is built for jumping. and one hop is all it takes to get airborne. But the bush baby is more than just a good jumper. It's a loaded spring, coiled and ready for launch. And as it lands each leap, it converts the energy of impact right back into takeoff, jumping 15 feet or more in a single bound. For predators, it's like trying to catch a bouncing ball, only this one knows where it's going. Eating on the fly isn't always easy, and the types of food available are often difficult to catch. So the hunters of the air have evolved some ingenious ways of sustaining themselves. Most airborne predators survive on lightning-fast reflexes and a talent for using talons, teeth, or claws. But some have much weirder ways of bringing home the bacon, such as the shrike. He may look like a sweet little songbird, but this ruthless predator impales more victims than a vampire slayer. The shrike feeds on small reptiles, birds, and insects. And when he wants to dig into a good meal, he skewers his prey on the thorns of the acacia tree. Now he can rip into some fresh meat. This spiky branch isn't just a slaughterhouse, it's also a pantry. Often the shrike will spear prey and store them there until decay starts to break down their bodies. He may also garnish them with feathers in an attempt to attract a mate. Lizard on the Barbie, anyone? For some of our freaky flyers, it's not meat that's on the menu. He comes in the night, avoiding the moonlight. He has just one all-consuming desire: to feed. And there's only one thing on the menu: your blood. This is no mythical creature, but a living, breathing animal. The vampire bat. When it comes to feeding, this little thumb-sized bat definitely sides with Dracula. It's the only mammal on an all-blood diet. An unsuspecting cow is the perfect prey. First, a stealthy ground approach. Vampire bats can walk on their thumbs and hop like a rabbit. Ankles and ears are prime targets. A quick bite and the feast begins. These vampires really do have fangs, sharp upper incisors that can delicately slice into their prey without being detected. Anticoagulants in the bat's saliva keep the blood from clotting. They don't suck blood, they drink it. And they're bloodaholics. If a vampire bat misses more than one night of slurping, they could die. No one dies from blood loss at this vampire's meal, but they can kill. Millions of dollars worth of cattle die each year from rabies transmitted through vampire bat bites. It may not be supernatural, but that's definitely scary. Most bats use sonar to locate prey in the darkness. But for this bat species, it's all ears. Meet the long-eared bat. Okay, so it doesn't have a very creative name. But those ears are the real deal. Its hearing is so sensitive, it can distinguish the sound of a moth's wings within the noise of a rushing stream. Forget the $6 million man. This is the bionic bat. When the faint noise of a flying insect catches the bat's ear, he shuts his sonar down. His prey has learned to detect the sound waves he makes, so instead, he simply listens with those super sensitive ears. Like the stealth bomber, he is now virtually invisible to his targets, but equally lethal. The silent bat isn't on the moth's radar. But every superhero has a weakness. Although he can hear the moth through the leaf, his vision is poor. The bat can't actually see his prey, so he flies toward it on the wrong side. As long as the moth stays still, the bat can't find it. But it can't stay still forever. One flap of the wing, and dinner is served. The lammergeier does a lot more than just feed on dead meat. It demolishes whole skeletons in search of its favorite meal, bone marrow. With a 10-foot wingspan, the lammergeier is one of the largest birds on the planet. But giant wings can't crack open bones. The solution? Take a heavy bone, find some sharp rocks, fly high, and let go. But it's a lot harder than it looks. Especially if you're a bird brain. It takes young lammergeiers up to 7 years to learn how to crack open large bones. That means a lot of grab, hoist, fly, drop, and repeat. Timing is of the essence for any bird of prey. You pick your target, make your move, and bam, dinner is served. But no matter how fast they fly, it always seems as though there's something else out there that flies faster, reacts quicker, and is more lethal. So what's a frequent flyer to do? Develop a claw-proof defense. For Mexican free-tailed bats, that means safety in numbers. They emerge at dusk. First a few, then thousands, then millions. It may look like the set of a horror film, but the mouth of Bracken Cave in East Texas is the staging ground for the largest swarm of mammals on the planet. Here, Batman would be seriously outnumbered. From March to October, as many as 20 million bats roost, feed, and breed here. They may be only a few inches long, but with this many neighbors, real estate is at a premium. But these bats don't mind crowds. The more the bats hang together, the harder it is to pick out individual bats as prey. Their sheer numbers can be overwhelming. and their quick changes in direction can be confounding to potential predators. Now that's mob rule. The bats may have each other, but this weaver bird has a different kind of defense strategy to avoid predators. An excellent home security system. Of course, as with any good real estate, it's all about location. He's found an acacia tree with everything a potential mate could want. A water view, shade, and most importantly, viciously sharp thorns to keep most predators away. The custom-built home doesn't hurt either. Male weavers build intricate, tightly woven nests. If the female is happy with the general contractor's design, she moves in. Weavers depend upon their construction skills to keep their hatchlings safe. Usually, it works. But it doesn't stop the predators from trying. The noisy, boisterous colony is attracting some unwanted attention. This snake wants eggs for breakfast. As it carefully winds its way around the thorns towards a nest, a weaver sounds the burglar alarm. With a few deft moves, the weaver dumps his nemesis into the drink. Fending off this attacker won't be so easy. The gobbered goshawk can perch right on the nest. Actually breaking into it is a little harder. But all it takes is one little design flaw, and the hatchlings are toast. Even with all their precautions, for the weavers, this is still a pretty dangerous neighborhood. Especially if the cuckoos have moved in. These birds are experienced nest raiders, but they don't steal other birds' eggs for food. They replace them with their own. Once the cuckoo chick hatches, the devious baby makes sure it's the only bird in the nest, dumping out the eggs that belong there. And it happily takes food from its unwitting surrogate parent, even when it's 2 times mom's size. Sounds like a much better deal than perching on a clock. From song to dance to strength or even smell, mating in the air world is all about putting on a show. But to really succeed in spawning the next generation, these flying pop idol wannabes have to be resourceful too. This outdoor picnic has an avian invader, but this satin bowerbird isn't interested in snatching food. He's stealing straws for love. This Australian songbird lives to lure females to his bower, an avenue of sticks built with one purpose in mind: mating. But no self-respecting female is going to set foot in this bare-bones bachelor pad. He needs to redecorate. And he knows what the ladies like. Blue is their favorite color. This female is not particularly impressed. To win her heart, he'll have to up the ante. That's a big spender. Finally, the female allows herself to step inside his love nest. Male bowerbirds have an elaborate mating dance. But for this female, a ring seals the deal. At least until the next girl comes along. When it comes to love, most female birds seem to go for style over substance. In the bird world, flashy feathers or showmanship usually carry the day. A bird nerd rarely gets the girl. Just ask this avian Casanova, the mannequin. There are over 50 species of this showy little bird, and they all go full out to court the ladies. At breeding time, the brightly colored males stake out a staging area called a lek, the bird equivalent of a singles bar. A branch serves as the dance floor. The act isn't all snazzy steps. Sound is just as important. The buzzes, whirs, and snaps may catch a lady's eye. But the noise also warns other males. Back off, she's mine. And if all else fails, show some leg. The competition is so fierce that only alpha males will mate. Now that makes online dating look easy. Architecture, fashion, flirtation. All three seem to lure the females in. But the male Mediterranean fruit fly has a different strategy. Perfume. Eau de fruit fly is secreted from a rather unappealing place. But female flies think it's irresistible. As a potential mate flies by, the male uses his wings to waft the scent in her direction. Just like an insect air freshener. Unfortunately, his smelly bottom attracts more than fruit flies. And he's too busy to notice. Predatory wasps love fruit fly fragrance and fruit fly flesh. That's a pretty high price to pay for a little love. When searching for a mate, most flyers don't have to broadcast from their bottom. They go with a more traditional tactic: song. Every rock star has their groupies. But when the male superb lyrebird takes the stage, he gives new definition to the term siren song. Like many birds, his voice is a prime way to woo the ladies. Those flashy 28-inch long tail feathers don't hurt either. But to lure the females in close enough to admire his pretty plumage, he has to sing his heart out. But this bird is more than just a snazzy solo. He's a whole glee club. He can imitate more than 20 different bird species in one song. The more complex, the better. Like the kookaburra. It's so convincing, it even fools the real thing. Though only outside the kookaburra's mating season. But this male doesn't just stop at bird calls. To really impress a potential mate, he breaks out the sampler. That was a camera shutter. And just to show off, he adds in the camera's motor drive. Now he's practically one of the paparazzi. The superb lyrebird can imitate nearly any sound he hears around him in the forest, though he rarely mimics man-made sounds in the wild. But when he gets his groove on, he can really let loose. A car alarm. And even a chainsaw felling trees. Maybe he should stick with something a little more romantic. Few birds can match the vocal skills of the lyrebird when looking for a mate, but other charms can be just as appealing to the opposite sex. This meadow, high in the Sierra Nevada mountains, is the stage for a sage grouse beauty pageant. But it's the males who have to perform. With those flashy tail feathers, solid breasts, and lively calls, they all look pretty good. But these judges aren't picking the next bird world idol. They're looking for something below the surface. A clean bill of health. While the males strut their stuff, the females eye the skin patches on their chests. So, what exactly are they looking for? Inflamed red skin is a sign of tuberculosis. Not so attractive. This is what they're looking for. The mustard-colored skin means this male is disease-free. First prize for the winner? He gets to mate with the judge. Victory is sweet. All birds have a need to breed. But whether finding the one or the 101, it's rarely easy. If you think mating is tough, try raising a child on the wing. Whether incubating eggs, nursing young, or having to regurgitate your own dinner, parenting takes some serious dedication. But some flyers let others do the heavy lifting. Botflies lay eggs on other insects called vector hosts, which in turn carry the eggs to other locations. When the vector bites a bigger host, like a cow, the eggs sense the new host's body heat and burrow beneath its skin. The larvae stay under the skin for months, happily munching away. It's a nice, safe spot for the little parasite, but it's not so fun for the unwitting host. Especially when that worm takes up residence in an inconvenient location. National Geographic photographer Joel Sartori is the proud surrogate parent of a botfly larva. He's not quite sure when he became a father, but when you spend that much time with bugs,
That's one of the stinging ones.
something odd is bound to happen. He shot a lot of close-ups, but he never thought he'd be this close.
Ah, es grande, Boro, eh. Aquí está.
Sí, Boro.
Traditional treatments involve covering up the larva's breathing hole so its head emerges, then grabbing it and pulling it out. Parasitic larvae like the botfly can live in almost any part of the body, even the scalp. This woman, Vanessa, found out the hard way. She returned from a trip to Belize carrying a very unwanted souvenir.
Oh God, he saw it.
A bug in her head. First, she tries to smoke it out, to no avail. Next, a high-tech medical remedy. Tape over the larva's breathing hole. And the worm emerges.
It's kind of stuck.
Sort of. Yes, that was living in a woman's scalp. If they never encounter tape and a pair of tweezers, the botfly babies eventually come out on their own. If allowed to eat their fill, the larva will burrow out to pupate. But this is one baby that no one would want to keep,
Ow. Oh God, that hurts.
even the botfly. When it comes to wild, weird, and wacky, the sky has no limits. To enter this world, there's just one requirement: get airborne. Whether they jump, leap, pounce, bound, dive, or glide, some of the world's weirdest creatures like to fly high. So look up, because the freaks of the sky are everywhere around, and they might be just overhead.
Nature is a scary place, and animals battle daily for survival. It's no wonder they need weapons. We know the big bruisers bring their size, hooves, teeth, and horns. But what about the little guy? What does he bring to the fray? Secret weapons. So get out of town, beyond your backyard, and you'll see just how wonderful weird can be. On the forest floor, ants frantically go about their business. Order is maintained through constant chemical communication. They collect food. They defend their colony. They also take their dead off the field of battle. A practice that allows an infiltrator into their midst. This is the Zodarian spider, a con artist and an ant killer. Her weapon of choice: disguise. She must become an ant to catch one. First, she embeds herself with the troops. Dicey. If she's caught, they'll kill her. But only if they think she's a spider. Walking on 6 legs instead of 8, she pretends her front 2 are antennae, mimicking her prey. she singles out a loner that stops for a bit of grooming. The spider attacks from behind. Her venom does the dirty work. Full body paralysis. Now, how to get out of here alive with the prize. The Zodarian spider uses her victim as cover. The ant's scent masks her own, a kind of invisibility cloak. It's time to get really devious. So she pretends to be one of the ant army's cleanup crew. She runs the gauntlet of suspicious ants, tapping their antenna with her false pair, chemically camouflaged by reassuring ant odor. But a couple quick flashes of her antennae, she's back in business. Then she makes a beeline home. At a safe distance, she sucks up the juices until nothing is left but an empty shell. She retreats to her bunker, a tent of rocks roped together by bits of her own webbing. Close the door, and she performs another disappearing act. Camouflage is clearly an ever-escalating arms race, and the pros take it to the ultimate level. Under the ocean, not everything is what it seems. This is a giant Pacific octopus. She has a calculating intelligence. Thanks to her donut-shaped brain. She's powered by 3 hearts that pump copper-rich blue blood. With her knack for invisibility, she sets the stage for a crustacean apocalypse. That rock is not a rock. The octopus paralyzes her prey with venom delivered by a hidden beak. There's no escape from this sucker-filled fate. 280 suction cups per arm can taste as well as grab. Though they only live about 4 years, giant Pacific octopuses can reach 30 feet long and weigh 200 pounds. Getting that big takes a lot of crabs. She stashes the living crabs until she's got a full load, her takeout meal for the day. Then she heads for home. Discarded shells testify to the feast in her lair and to a satisfied hunter. No creature can challenge the octopus for title of camouflage queen. But one little creature does it with a smile. On the islands of Hawaii lives an evolutionary oddity that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. At only a fraction of an inch, this spider has a unique pattern that varies from island to island. She's a spider that takes the skies to a whole new level and laughs in the face of danger. Or maybe it smirks. You be the judge. This is the happy face spider. Her secret weapon? A smile on her back. And just like the Mona Lisa, no one's really sure what she's smiling about. Maybe it's how well her markings help camouflage and confuse her predators. Good thing, too. She has no poison to protect her, unlike her famous cousin, the Black Widow. In the vertical world of the redwood forest, no one is smiling this morning. This spotted owl dad is trying to raise his young alone. And times are tough. The chicks squabble over who gets enough breakfast. The louder owlet gets the goods. The softer-spoken brother goes hungry. Only if their old man can hunt down enough varmints will both owlets survive. And working alone, it isn't going to be easy. The owlets are begging for their lives. It's the screeches that trigger their father to hunt. He must catch around 15 mice a day to keep everyone fed. And the mice are doing their best not to get caught. Dark fur helps the deer mouse hide. Its ears are big to listen out for danger. But what good is that if danger makes no sound? And in that instance, the owl reveals his secret weapon. Fringed edges of his flight feathers let air pass, breaking up the flapping noise that a normal bird makes. And his attack is as silent as death. The mouse never knew what hit him. even just 1/30th of a second before the talons strike, the mouse still doesn't have a clue. Finally, the second youngster gets enough to eat. Silence is golden. For the owl, that is. Hundreds of feet below the towering redwood frontier is an untamed backcountry of moss, fungus, and unexpected slimy critters. Like banana slugs. They can grow even larger than the fruit they're named for. The redwood forest is a dangerous place for a slug. This garter snake is on the lookout for an easy meal. And the banana slug isn't exactly dressed to blend in. Hopefully, he has a secret weapon that will deter this predator. It looks like it's all over for our shellless mollusk. Until he plays the mucus-filled ace up his sleeve. The snake has bitten off more than it can chew. The slug's repulsive slime makes him very hard to swallow. Choked back up, the slug emerges more or less unscathed. But he's not out of the redwoods yet. A masked bandit is on the hunt. The raccoon has his own tricks. Rolling the slug in a coating of dirt, he neutralizes the slime to help it go down nice and easy. As night falls in America, aliens emerge from the dark side of the dunes. Scorpions. By sheer weight, there are more of them in America's deserts than reptiles, mammals, and birds combined. Around long before the dinosaurs, they wield a supernatural arsenal. Their skeleton channels air, so sand blows over it without getting stuck. A technology now being mimicked by the world's militaries. tiny hairs sense the vibration of anything moving nearby. But it's in the shadows where they really shine. Ultraviolet light makes his photosensitive armor glow. This may help him sense what's around him, even in the darkest shadows. Armed to the claws, sand scorpions are cold-blooded killers. Their neurotoxic venom is effective even on relatives. In a dry year, nearly a third of this scorpion's diet is scorpion. The conquering cannibal drags his cousin down to its tomb. He's not the only loner stalking the desert night. Often, you never see him coming. Using the art of disguise, a shovel-nosed snake is on the prowl. Nothing but sand. But the night's not over. With 50 feet and potent venom, the giant desert centipede is a dangerous foe. The sand serpent is not immune to the centipede's venom. But this meal is worth the risk. It's an eat or be eaten kind of world, and in this battle, the snake won. The wonderfully weird world is full of surprises. So whether you mimic, disguise, slime, or smile, using your secret weapons is the name of the game. Do you howl at the moon? Is your body see-through? Do you have an extremely long tongue? Probably not. These days, being weird is good. And if you get out of town, beyond your backyard, you'll see just how wonderful weird can be. In the dangerous waters off Indonesia lurks a killer the military would love to recruit. He's proof that size doesn't always matter. At only 6 inches long, this is the peacock mantis shrimp. Neither mantis nor shrimp, and more closely related to crabs and lobsters. It has multicolored shades of bright green, orange, red, and blue on its shell, with forearms covered in spots. Dressed to kill and armed with the most sophisticated vision of any predator on Earth, and the fastest strike. His eyes work independently and together to better target his prey. These eyes detect more colors than any creature on Earth and see polarized light. He closes in on his target. The mantis shrimp unloads the ace up his sleeve, hammer claws. These spring-loaded clubs strike 50 times faster than we can blink. The energy from the strike creates a shock wave that further shatters the crab's shell. This guy may not be large in size, but pound for pound, he packs a pretty powerful punch. The Central American rainforest teems with frogs. Many no bigger than a nickel. There are hundreds of species, and every single one of them is a fierce little predator. All rainforest frogs begin their lives with the odds stacked against them. Most frogs simply lay their eggs and abandon them to the elements and to predators. But one fierce little frog stands by his young. The reticulated glass frog. It's named for its transparent skin. Get close enough, and you can see his organs hard at work. That's right, he's see-through. Could you imagine people looking at your organs 24 hours a day? Dad guards his egg clutch both day and night. Transferring moisture through his own skin onto the eggs so they don't dry out. and come daybreak, defending his brood from their worst enemy. Squadrons of carnivorous rainforest wasps. They're aggressive, persistent, venomous, and nearly as big as our glass frog. They're not interested in him. They want his eggs. But if the wasps think they can eat his babies without a fight, they've got another thing coming. He's a frog ninja. The cloud forest of Ecuador is a magical world of bizarre plants, strange creatures, and one very special bat. But don't worry, it doesn't want to suck your blood. Although he probably could with his bizarrely long tongue. This is the tube-lipped nectar bat. This 2.5-inch bat has an almost 3.5-inch long tongue, the longest relative to body length of any known mammal. If human, he'd have an almost 9-foot tongue. When the tongue reaches a pool of nectar, it transforms and suddenly becomes a prickly hair-like structure, maximizing the surface area, allowing it to mop up as much nectar as possible. He gorges himself on high-energy nectar, and the flower gets a courier for its pollen. He alone is the pollinator of this plant. And without him, the flower simply wouldn't exist. When he's not feeding on nectar, the bat stores its unusually long tongue in the only place it can. Where else? His rib cage. But even this long licker can't compare to our next freaky flyer. For most winged predators, grasslands stretch below them like vast banquets. Not for this strange bird, who would rather hunt on foot, sometimes stalking 20 miles a day. This is the secretary bird. She may look feather-brained, but she's a skilled assassin with a wicked arsenal. Her keen eyes target reptiles and rodents. She's 4 feet tall, with an eagle's body on powerful stilts. Tough scales on her legs protect her from snake bites. Her wings also fend off snakes and fluster prey. Then, with her formidable legs and talons, she stomps her victims to death. She's the only bird in the world that hunts this way. Each mighty blow can shatter bones. Sometimes the best offense is a stealthy defense. And in the Sonoran Desert of North America, we find just that. An animal that howls like a wolf and bites like a tiger. This is the grasshopper mouse. She's a wolf in mouse clothing. Acting as the predator, not the prey. She's a single mother with 3 new mouths to feed. And her ghostly howl stakes claim to acres of Sonoran desert. This is her hunting playground. Here in the desert, you either kill or get killed. This giant centipede is feasting on a freshly killed pocket mouse. It has a taste for mouse flesh and venom more toxic than a desert scorpion. But our mouse doesn't shy away. It kills for a living and knows how to get the job done. The centipede is enough food for several days. And the dead mouse is also good eating. Grasshopper mice are not above eating a cousin. Because in the desert, little goes to waste. For several months a year, parts of the Amazon transform into a drowned world. The water rises and the rivers burst their banks to create the flooded forest. And with the floodwaters come some extraordinary creatures. Hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean. But here are dolphins. Pink river dolphins. That's right. Pink. All shades of pink. Light gray pink to a bright pink like a flamingo. The reason behind this unique coloration is not entirely understood. Some studies show males are generally pinker than females. Talk about being secure in your manhood. With a fat bulbous forehead and an elongated beak, these animals barely resemble their oceanic cousins. And unlike most dolphin species, the pink river dolphin has unfused neck vertebrae, allowing them to turn their necks from side to side. Without these adapted characteristics, catching fish in the flooded forest could be an impossible task. If pink is the new gray, then this creature takes fashion to a whole new level. Sometimes our wonderfully weird creatures are actually in our backyards. And it's no surprise why. We provide shelter and bring in a very important resource: water. One animal has found a way to make the most of its drought-stricken wilderness, living in the most coveted neighborhood in town, the golf course. It's the red kangaroo. This grass is fortified with nutrient-rich fertilizer, kangaroo superfood. So these super-roos grow bigger and faster than their cousins in the bush. Kangaroos can look strangely human and unlike any other animal on Earth. Growing up in a pouch, able to hop speeds of more than 35 miles an hour, the ability to leap nearly 6 feet high, and designed with powerful limbs for delivering devastating blows. This juiced-up male is master of the back nine. At nearly 6 feet tall and weighing more than 200 pounds, armed with sharp claws, huge feet, and a muscular tail, he is a giant of the outback. Most of these girls are his, and he may have sired more than half the joeys. The situation this good, there's always a challenger. A young buck from the front nine is looking to prove himself. When showing off doesn't settle it, it's on. The first rule of Kangaroo Fight Club: there are no rules. Amazingly, the Roo can stand on his muscular tail and deliver a kick with enough force to crush bones. Each massive foot bears a long hidden claw, sharp enough to tear an opponent's gut wide open. After nearly an hour, the young male relents. Looks like the challenger will have to take a mulligan and try again later. Rio de Janeiro is one of the world's biggest cities, and it surrounds an urban park half the size of Manhattan. But Brazil's islands of green can be much smaller. This one's just 1 square block, and it's home to one of the weirdest creatures on Earth: the three-toed sloth. Sloths are tree dwellers, and possibly the slowest moving mammal in the world, with an average ground speed of 6 to 8 feet per minute. The reason for the sloth's famous lethargy is that the leaves it feeds on have little nutritional value, so they survive by burning as little energy as possible. Some stay in a single tree for years, only coming out of the tree to Well, poop. But movement is a real giveaway to a predator. So this simple act of climbing down to do their business is a dangerous one. Luckily for the sloth, algae grows in its shaggy fur, attracting moths and adding to the disheveled look that helps camouflage it from predators, who may mistake the sloth for another lump of moth-infested greenery. Built to hang upside down, the claws, which are perfect in the trees, are no help here. It takes the sloth 3 minutes just to cross the street. Learning to appreciate weird is something we should all do. Whether you're the slowest, fastest, strongest, or fiercest, embrace your weird and show it off a bit. Because after all, weird is wonderful.
I'm on a secret mission. It's all very, very, very serious and everybody's quite tense already.
Don't talk unnecessarily.
I have to promise that I'll be quiet. I struggle with quiet.
They are here.
It's kind of freaky. There's just all around us the sounds, big things moving in the trees above us.
Okay, look at it. Here. Can you see?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, he is moving, he is. Look, he just turned his back on us and now he's moving. Sorry.
I'm Lucy Cook, and I love freaks. I am immune to cute. I do whatever it takes to seek out the world's strangest creatures in the wildest places. I'm on a mission to show you why nature's oddballs are truly the most amazing animals on Earth. The island of Borneo is like a factory for strange animals. Its jungles teem with curious creatures. Frogs and snakes that fly. Fish that walk. Even primates with poisonous elbows. But there's one animal that gets all the attention, the orangutan. It's time to change that. I'm making a protest. Trying to line the big. I'm doing it for the freaks out there. They need to be heard. Good idea?
Good idea.
There's more to Borneo than orangutans, you know. I like my monkeys with their noses. Exactly. Are you going to go and see the orangutans? Why should the orangutan get all the love when there's a monkey here with a giant nose, a massive pot belly, and a chili pepper for a penis? The proboscis monkey is one of the strangest looking animals on the planet, and I'm going to find out what its oddness is all about. We're heading into some mangrove swamps to try and catch a glimpse of one of the strangest animals on the planet. It's a monkey that I've wanted to see all my life. It won't be easy.
I can see some bubbles. They've probably been swimming already.
This is Jungle Dave. Dave's brilliant. He's the man to spot the monkeys.
There's one group there already. I can smell them.
You can smell them?
Surely you can smell them easily.
Can you describe that smell for me?
Oh, the smell is similar to a dog pee.
A pee?
Pee. You smell them? Just relax. This is the fruits they eat.
Have a big bite. I'm going to try proboscis monkey's favourite fruit?
Chew it.
I don't want to chew it.
Chew it. You can feel the texture,
Here's
the
texture.
taste.
Yeah.
It's bitter. It's good for diet.
Oh. Sorry.
That's a male call.
That's a male call,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I'm starting to have my doubts about Dave. Cruising the swamp sniffing for monkey pee isn't exactly working. Lucky for me, Dave has a cell phone.
Already there. Okay, let's go.
So we just had a call that the monkeys are on the other side of the village, so we're going to dash there now. Oh, yeah. Look, you can see them in the tree.
There you go. We're gonna jump.
It's so exciting. I can see them in the tree.
See the boys.
So they're males?
Yeah.
This is a bachelor group?
Yes. 8 or 9 years old. The nose is still very small.
It's only the big males, apparently, that have the really big, dangly schnoz.
Yeah.
And there's one close by.
So those trees moving over there, that's the dominant male, is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
He's getting close, but still no nose.
There might be just one big-nosed monkey in a troop, so spotting him is hard.
Oh, they're moving away.
Yeah, it's moving away. We try to go the other side, Lucy, because that monkey is moving on the other side.
So we're going to try and see if we can head them off. Oh, my flip-flop! I just lost my flip-flop in the water. Can we get my
The high tide.
flip-flop back?
The current is very strong.
Yeah. I want to see the monkey with the big nose more than I need a shoe.
The big nose is there, look.
Phil, the monkey's in the tree.
Right in front of you, 12 o'clock. Right on top there. It's there, look. Oh, the big one there. The one sitting on top of the tree, that's the big nose.
Oh my God, he's huge. Their baby's in the tree.
That's your big nose.
I've got to ask you about the nose. What's your theory on that?
No one actually knows why they have big nose.
No other primate has a face like it. And there's got to be a reason for its strange looks. Proboscis monkeys only live on Borneo, but they're not the only oddballs here. I'm hoping that if I track down the island's other weirdos, I'll find out what makes this place such a festival of freaks. I'm in Borneo's smallest country, Brunei, where an ancient forest is home to an entire cast of strange creatures.
So the boat guy here is Iban, and he's a descendant of headhunters. Looks like he's a good driver. Ooh, rapid.
Brunei's oil wealth has helped these forests escape the axe. It's a haven for the oddballs I want to find.
Well, that was fun.
Welcome to the primary rainforest.
Yeah.
This is it.
So this is one of the last patches of primary rainforest in Borneo. And I'm hoping to find some pretty cool stuff because I'm with Dr. Ulmar Grafe, who's not only very experienced and knows these forests very well, but is also a frog nut like me. I rang up Central Casting and I said, can you send me a frog professor, please? And they said, we've got just the one for you.
Frogs here are super specialised, and Ulmar finds different species on almost every stream.
Ulmar's been collecting frogs for his study, and today we're going to release them.
This is a poisonous rock frog.
Here's Mr. Poisonous Rock Frog. There is nothing that makes me happier than a bucket of frogs. Look at her!
It's a Bornean horned toad.
Isn't she magnificent?
It's a frog that lives in a leaf litter on the forest floor.
Woo! Okay, we have our celebrity frog back. This lady's mouth is actually wider than her leg is long. Her strategy is to live on the ground and wait for dinner to walk on by, and then with a great big gob on her, she can gobble it up. Spot the frog. You spot it? There she is.
Each frog has come up with its own crazy solution to the problem of survival.
What? God, I'm so good at catching frogs. Oh, she's making a play for it. She's going up the tree. Oh, he's good at catching frogs. I've wanted to see this frog all my life. I saw him on the telly when I was little. And this is a frog that flies. Okay. There he is. Look at his feet. Look at this. So he's got these incredible webbed feet and even webbed elbows. He's even webbed here. And that enables him to jump and glide from tree to tree.
You're very lucky to see one because... So you're very lucky to see them because they only come to the forest floor to breed. Otherwise they live up in the canopy and you will never see them up there.
Literally, this is a trembling moment for me. He's like my frog prince. I'm not going to kiss him.
This frog is just one of many creatures that usually don't fly, but here they do. Borneo's home to flying lizards and even flying snakes. And here's why.
The rainforest of Borneo is the tallest in the world, which means that looking down is really scary. Oh, God.
Well, we're very high up. We're about 50 meters here, and you can still see the trees are even taller than this.
Now I'm up here, I can see if you're a frog and you want to get from this tree to that tree, you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom and then all the way back up again. You're going to evolve big flaps of skin so you can glide.
But that doesn't explain the monkey's big nose. Somewhere in this forest, there is an answer to what that's all about, and I'm going to find it.
I will bring the ladder. You never know when you'll need a ladder. You always carry one. Is it far? Oops. So Ulmar's taking me to see some very odd behaviour. It's clear that the Bornean forest is a laboratory of strange.
Borneo's tropical forests have been evolving for over 100 million years, often in isolation and even through the Ice Age. So plants and animals have had millennia to develop some strange relationships.
Ah, these are the famous pitcher plants.
So you can see that it's actually a leaf. As it grows, it forms this pitcher structure, and it becomes slippery, so any insect will fall into the digestive fluid inside this pitcher and cannot come out again.
So this is a carnivorous plant.
Absolutely.
It's a plant that eats meat, fly meat, and that provides it with the nutrients it needs in this very poor soil here.
Millions of years of tropical rains have washed nutrients out of the soil.
Oh, look, they're everywhere. They're like something out of a science fiction film. Carnivorous plants just hanging out in this peat bog.
One species sets its trap for something much larger than bugs.
So be careful, try not to move the vegetation too much.
Okay, let's have a look in there.
See anything?
Oh, it's moving. What about if I close my hand over it like that? Okay. I've got to be very careful. Let me see if I can get my hand in. Oh, yeah, I've got a shot of it. Perfect shot.
It's a bat.
Oh, my goodness me. There really is a bat in there.
It's not supposed to happen, right? These are carnivorous.
What Ulmar's discovered is that they've got a bit of a thing going on, the pitcher plant and the bat. So the pitcher plant provides the bat with a place to sleep. And whenever the bat goes to the loo, he provides the plant with valuable nitrogen.
It's a relationship found nowhere else in the world.
You know, there might be a wing you can grab or
And I
something.
see if I can get a wing, and he promised he won't bite, because I'd be mad as hell if I was
He'll try
woken
to
up.
bite, but he won't hurt you. Carefully.
Oh, he's wriggling in my fingers. Yep, got it. Oh, it's the tiniest. There were two. Oh, there's a second one. There were two. Oh, do you think they were having a romantic liaison? That we
Probably
just...
mother and child, actually.
Mother and child. I'm immune to conventional cute, but he is actually really cute, this bat. Ouch! Ouch! Ow! Haven't bats got rabies? Hang on, guys.
No, not this one.
Not all right. Okay. Yeah. Can I give it to Ulmar, please? So, what kind of a bat is this?
This is a woolly bat. What they can do is they can pick off insects from surfaces, which is called gleaning, and they fly through the forest and they can detect insects on the leaves, and they use this membrane between their legs and they scoop them up and then they eat them.
So he was an odd one before he even started roosting in a pitcher plant.
Definitely.
I'm gonna put it back in its home. In you go. That's an incredible piece of evolution. That's going to take some beating in the odd stakes, because that's truly strange.
If the plants had to adapt to Borneo's poor soil, it's possible the animals here had to adapt to them. So how does the proboscis monkey get the nutrition it needs? I'm leaving Brunei for a place where even more proboscis monkeys live, and where the danger to them is mounting. In Malaysian Borneo, palm oil production has led to widespread deforestation. The fruit is pressed into an oil used in millions of products, from margarine to lipstick.
So we're heading to the proboscis monkey sanctuary, and you can see why they need a sanctuary, because unless you eat palm fruit, then there's not a lot to eat around here, and I don't think proboscis monkeys are keen on palm fruit, so I'm going to be helping giving them some breakfast. Hello!
Hi, hello, good morning.
Hello, Junjun. Good morning. Oh, wow. It's a major thing. Look at this. It's like, oh.
So be careful.
It's like we're on an ice rink, isn't it? So I'm making pancakes for proboscis monkeys. They like their pancakes thick, the monkeys. Still running. Oh my God. It's going to be at least 100 degrees outside, and in here, it feels like it's about 200 degrees. It's so freaking hot. I feel like I'm going to melt into the pancakes myself. Do you do this every day?
So every day, yeah.
You love animals and you love the monkeys. There's a lot of love going into the pancakes.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hate that's gone into my pancakes. I'm a bit worried they might give them indigestion. Ow! 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 That's monkey for pancake. Ow! Ooh. Ow! This is a bachelor group, is it?
Yeah. Can you see the red chili?
I can't see the red chili.
Yeah, red like a lipstick.
Like a lipstick?
Yeah.
Are you talking about his penis?
Yeah.
All of these guys have got it out. Look at them, they look so cool, man. Oh my God. Hey, look at it, look. Oh my goodness me. Look, it's like a human. He stands like a human. You cheeky monkey. Do you want a little bit of pancake? Yeah. Ooh. Hello, sir. Do you want to hold my hand? He's holding my hand. I can't believe it.
So one of the things that I love about these monkeys is their big Buddha stomachs. And the reason why they have this massive, great big pot belly is because inside there is a whole soup of bacteria that's trying to digest their normal diet, which is leaves, which are full of cellulose and they're a bit toxic.
On Borneo, that nasty diet has its advantages. In the poor soil here, trees don't bear fruit often.
And that's the secret to the proboscis monkey's success, because they've evolved to eat this quite undigestible food.
They don't have to out-wrestle Borneo's dozen other primates for food, but there's a cost, some pretty unsavoury side effects.
As well as suffering from terrible perpetual gas, they also regurgitate their food.
And then swallow it again.
There's a baby!
This sanctuary is not just for bachelors.
This is the lead male, and these are all of his chicks. He's got 20 girlfriends. So because he's the head of the harem group, that means that he's the biggest, toughest male in this area.
But the bachelors are brazen. They like to live next to a family group to try and have a go with the ladies.
Whoa! So the male's like banging on the roof going, check me out, I'm gonna have your girlfriend soon. The lead male of the family group is protecting his turf against this roving bachelor group.
No blows are exchanged. The family leader prevails.
Ooh.
Apparently, the jockeying for sex here is more intense than the competition for food. I have one last thing to do.
There's a couple of goodies. Oh, God, it's stinky too. Okay, let's take that. So as unconventional as this may seem, I'm now going to take home some of the proboscis monkey poo. No, I'm after your poo, mate. It's poo. I know. Yeah, I know, you've now got your own on your hands. Listen, mate, I don't have any more pancakes, okay? I'm not some sort of neat freak that's cleaning up after the monkeys, but I need their poo because I'm meeting a dung beetle expert later, so that looks like that's a nice fresh one. Excellent. Monkey poo.
Borneo's oddballs have found innovative ways to find the food they need. But the one I'm after next has to dine at the food chain's rear end.
We're gonna go find bugs. So, Mike, what is that?
This is the kit.
In Borneo, the fight for food goes on everywhere.
We're looking for the best spot to lay dung beetle traps, because Mike here is an expert in dung beetles. This is Dung Boy. So what is the kit?
Well, there's no poo inside.
You're missing the main ingredient. Now I've got you special present.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah. Does that make you happy?
Yeah, some grade A monkey poo.
Just to make everybody feel a little bit more comfortable about their jobs, it's referred to as bait.
Lets us sleep at night.
Yeah.
Call it what you like. I don't envy Dung Boy's job.
Oh.
Nice.
Nugget.
Or the beetles, for that matter.
Kind of
Is
a
that
sphere about
a sphere like that?
a bit more is
A
better.
bit more.
Mike assures me the beetles will be lured to the bait and fall into his traps.
That's great, isn't it? Look, it's so nice. It's like a little palace it's got there.
One dung beetle trap. Now all we have to do is wait for word to get around that there's some fresh poo in town.
Right.
So I feel I've worked up an appetite after all that.
Really? I always find I need a good bit of time after doing it before I can eat.
While we wait for the beetles to descend, I want to find the freaks that only come out at night.
Oh, wow, it's a tarsier! Each one of his eyeballs is bigger than his brain. He can turn his head through 360 degrees pretty much to compensate for the fact that his eyes are so big they can't swivel in their sockets. Okay. Whoa!
This primate is known as the furry frog for his leaping skills. It's like you or me doing a standing jump to the forest canopy.
He's a whopper.
Wriggling.
It's a little bit gross. It's the sort of probing head on it, isn't it?
He's a bit more muscular.
He's been working out. Can't believe they get to 1 metre long. Yeah, big Borneo worm.
The night jungle is also home to the slow loris. This primate has poisonous elbows. He actually licks them to deliver a deadly bite. Finally, there's the colugo. Its giant flaps of skin let it glide farther than any other mammal.
Time to check the crab traps.
They look pretty cool, though.
They are.
They're real bruisers, aren't they?
They are. They're little tanks.
A dung beetle could smell a poo from 9 football fields away.
Well, do you think we can get them to sort of roll dung for us? Will they demonstrate this?
Well, we've got a pile. We could try.
The monkey poo that I bought yesterday is a bit dry for them to be interested in, so apparently we're going to have to use something fresh.
So we're going to use the natural surrogate used by dung beetle ecologists all over the world, which is human
poo.
Human poo.
Can we just like maybe just, I was thinking like a little bit, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Not like a whole log. Okay, we've got some party treats out.
The nibbles are out.
The nibbles are out, and let's get the guests out, shall we?
Come on, smell. I can smell it. What's wrong with you?
Wakey, wakey. Look, there's just a big pile of poo behind you. Oh, here he comes. He comes. I've done it. Look, he's like, "Urgh."
The dung beetle whisperer.
Oh, look. Anybody that goes on about, oh, pandas are so cute, whatever, I happen to think a dung beetle waking up and stroking his antennae is incredibly cute.
It
These
is.
are like little, really sensitive antennae. They're poo detectors, basically. Like, oh, Nirvana, manna of heaven. Oh, I thought you'd left me.
You guys, you can't make me laugh. I can't shoot when I'm laughing. Don't be funny, okay? It's too macro-y.
Don't be funny.
Once the party starts, each species has its own strategy for getting its piece of the poo pie.
So this is a tunneler.
Tunnelers got these big shovels on the fronts of their heads. Have we got any rollers
So
in
the
there?
little ones with the long legs are rollers. He's going for it. He's going for the roll.
This bunch of rollers are all in a big knot.
In one Borneo forest, 97 dung beetle species have been found. More than anywhere else on the planet.
How important are these guys to the forest?
These are one of the groups of insects that really run the show in the forest. So they're the guys that do the heavy-duty work, keeping the forest healthy.
So if it wasn't for these guys doing their recycling job,
Yeah.
then we'd be up to our necks in poo everywhere, basically.
The struggle for food shapes a lot of what's strange here. But that doesn't really explain the proboscis monkey's crazy nose. To discover the whole story, I'm going to have to head much deeper into the Bornean jungle.
We're going to the with this man, Benoit Poussin. Hopefully I'm going to get the chance to honk a proboscis monkey's nose. Don't tell Benoit.
Well, Lucy, welcome to my kingdom.
And are you a benevolent leader? Well, you've got some really bizarre, strict rules.
No. Oh, yes, I have some strict rules. I mean, one of them is no swimming in the river.
No swimming in the river?
Yeah, because we have large crocodiles.
Because of the large crocodiles.
Yes,
right,
very
that's
large.
A good rule.
And if you don't respect these rules, then you are out.
Really? and I got to swim home, yeah.
Exactly.
Benoit and his students are trying to capture and track 10 wild monkeys to learn how to protect them.
How many times have you done this so far?
7.
Number 7.
Number 7, yeah.
They want to catch a big male tonight, and I'm going along. In the meantime, I can check out more of Borneo's fantastically strange animals.
What a welcome! I've just arrived, and already weirdness is travelling to meet me. Hey, I heard you were looking for odd animals. Look at me, look at me. Benoit, have you ever seen this before?
No, that's the first time, actually. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's a moth, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it's probably a moth.
Now, the thing that I love so much about field stations is that it's a place where I can release my inner geek. Whoa, that is weird.
These lantern bugs.
These are the lantern bugs?
Yes, lantern bugs.
These are a Borneo speciality.
It looks like they also have a giant nose, but that's actually their mouth, a tube they use to suck up sap from the trees.
Borneo is a bit like Alice in Wonderland. There's a lot of big things and small things that shouldn't be either big or small. Maybe the giant mosquito eats the tiny frog. Pygmy dwarf squirrels, this big. An order of weirdness that I hadn't imagined.
In this upside-down world, insects grow bigger than mammals.
There, it's a really big stick insect.
Borneo is home to the world's largest bug, a stick insect. Many animals that grow massive on the mainland are smaller here. Well, except for the crocodiles.
These are pygmy elephants. So we're allowing them, they are actually still odd because they're pygmies, they're dwarfs.
That's a young one with his mom just next. There's probably a large male there.
A large male just here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see. You see the top of his head.
That's a male.
They're just 2/3 the size of African elephants. A storm looms, and suddenly we hit trouble.
Like, why are we sinking?
Don't know.
But we're sinking.
Don't move.
Watch your weight.
Everything was going just fine. So the elephants, it was all great, and now we're sinking. And there's crocodiles and all sorts of other.
It's okay. Don't worry.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's just seeping into the back.
Do you guys want me to paddle?
Yeah. We're a long way from the shore.
We're stuck.
We're stuck.
I'm gonna swim.
You're gonna swim? Oh, what's happening?
Benoit is dragging the boat. Bloody hell, it's a proper emergency. Oh my God, that man deserves a medal. Benoit, you genius! We are now safe, thanks to Benoit's heroism.
We're drifting away. 1, 2.
Benoit, I just want to say thank you for the elephant tour. It was really, really something. do you always do that trick with the boat at the end? Is that
No, it was only for you. Only for you.
We've missed our chance to catch a monkey tonight. It'll have to be tomorrow, or not at all. It's time for Operation Proboscis Monkey.
Big night, yeah.
You've got everything?
We got everything ready to go to catch monkeys.
Benoit's team wants to place a GPS beacon on a wild monkey to learn about how it lives. I hope that I'll get the answer
To its oversized nose. Well, obviously, tonight is the night I've got the best chance of squeezing a proboscis monkey's nose. That's my secret mission.
Selamat malam. Good evening, guys. Lucy.
And the guy who's in charge is a guy called Sen.
I need you to obey strictly directives from myself. Is that understood?
He's quite scary.
Like I said, just follow orders. You don't talk unnecessarily.
I have to promise that I'll be quiet. I struggle with quiet.
Watch out for creepy crawlies.
Centipede?
Centipedes, snakes, and things like that.
I really feel like I'm on some secret mission. We're going in under the cover of darkness.
We're trying to catch the monkeys while they're asleep, but that makes finding them 100 feet up a real challenge.
They are here. They are awake. They're awake. It's gonna be difficult.
Really?
Well, they're gonna move. But they're here.
Oh, God. It's kind of freaky. There's just all around us the sounds of things, big things moving in the trees above us.
We've woken the monkeys up. Now it's going to be harder.
We go back.
What's he saying?
It's JB, he's calling us. I think there is probably a big male there.
Lucy, can you see it, Lucy?
No, I can't see. I can't see.
Get ready. Okay, look at it. Yeah. Can you see?
Oh my God, yeah. Just look, he just turned his back on us and now he's moving. Sorry.
Almost missed it, just a bit.
He's moving.
Yes, you got him.
Move it there, move it there, move it there.
Now we wait for the drug to kick in.
He's moving in. He's there.
Okay, guys, watch out for your head.
We have to be careful. We don't get a monkey fall on our head.
Over there. Watch your head, watch your head.
We have to keep track of him.
Whoa, he's right on top of us. He's right on top of us.
You do not want a 50-pound monkey landing on you from up there.
I can't see. Where is he?
Behind is very high.
He's gone. Did he shoot up?
It's quite high, yeah.
So now we wait for a big thud.
Yeah, I would think anytime soon. Okay. Oh, jangan kepala. Quite high. Careful. Quite high.
From experience, the team knows that the monkeys can survive these falls.
That was quite intense.
But Sen checks him for signs of trauma.
It was quite a shock, wasn't it?
When it falls, huh?
When it falls, it's just the sound of the thud.
No broken bones, huh? Not that I can see.
Beautiful man.
Isn't he beautiful?
Yeah.
Is he big enough for you to collar?
I think so, yeah.
We've got about an hour now to do a full medical.
I have to solve the mystery of his strange looks before he wakes up.
Yep, okay, I'm going to help out.
Checking his heart now.
Okay. So how old do you think this one is?
5 to 8 years, a bit more.
Benoit's team takes blood and saliva to get a clearer understanding of the health of these endangered monkeys and build a genetic map of the troop.
For your information, Lucy, this is the first time in the world that we're actually taking saliva samples of wild proboscis monkey.
The first time. We're just putting the collar on now.
The GPS collar will allow them to see where he goes for a whole year and how much territory he needs to survive.
So this is the drop-off. So after 52 weeks, it will drop automatically.
It's just incredible moment.
Satu lampu di sini deh.
He lives in the trees, but he's got a perfect manicure.
This young male's nose could eventually grow 7 inches long. That's like a man with a nose as big as his hand.
Feels amazing. Wow. You think it's going to be squidgy, but it's not. You can feel that there's structure in there, there's cartilage. The front just looks like this funny, floppy comedy nose, but actually inside it looks like a musical instrument, a sort of work of art.
It could be the key to the honking sound that he makes.
It's complete.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Ah!
Ooh.
Okay, whatever you need to do it in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's now 10:41.
We're running out of time. The drugs are wearing off, and they're having to make difficult decisions about which measurements they're going to take.
Okay, last thing you're going to do testicles to the testicles directly.
Testicles. She's interested in the correlation between the nose and the dominance of the males. So that's why she needs to measure his testicles. It's quite an intimate procedure.
They'd like to keep going, but it's time for our patient to rest.
Benoit, how urgent is it that you get this information about these animals
It's
here?
extremely critical. I mean, the species is highly endangered, and if we don't do anything now, I mean, we will lose it.
The monkey sleeps off the drugs for a few hours. At dawn, we take him back to the exact spot where he was captured and let him go. Then I set out to track him with Benoit's student, Danica.
Yeah, they're just behind the bushes.
That's the sound. That was a... He's rejoined the group and seems okay. So you're going to mark that, basically?
We're going to mark this with the GPS, yeah.
Danica will build a map of his range and find out how much forest he needs to survive. But I still don't know the secret behind his unusual looks.
So, Danica, I've got to ask you about the nose. What's your theory on that?
Well, our theory right now is that it's the females that are interested in the big nose.
I suspected as much, because it kind of looks slightly phallic, doesn't it? I mean, it's sort of... it's kind of like... What are you trying to say with that? Is that really what I think it is?
Also, they're very vocal species. And I'm sure that the nose is contributing to making that sound go a lot further.
So, big male, big nose, big noise, lots of ladies.
Lots of ladies,
yeah.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
Something else Danica is studying whether the nose size correlates with the size of the...
Schlong. Member.
But what's the best word to use on the telly?
Out, penises are possible, Willy to English.
What if the head of Nat Geo is named Willy? Package works. Penis.
Penis it is.
And the penis itself is very red, isn't it? And
it is, yeah. I think they're also displaying their reproductive fitness with that as well.
Yeah, why is that?
The color of the blood pumping through is really showing that they're healthy, and just the energy that it takes to keep that blood in there all day long. It shows his females that he's a good mate. It also shows the males that are around to watch out, because he's going to protect his females because he's strong enough to do it.
Okay, so it's not about survival as such, the big nose and the penis. It's all about ladies and showing the other guys that he's the one who's fit enough and strong enough to have all those girls, and he's not worth fighting with.
So there it is. The competition for sex is often behind stranger traits than the struggle for food. Here on Borneo, those are just two of the factors that have helped produce some wonderfully weird results.
I reckon Borneo is a bit like a big evolutionary experiment. Take one island, add a bit too much sunshine and water, not enough nutrients, and leave it alone for a very, very long time, and the result is a carnival of strange.